Hi everyone, welcome to today's live stream, and today we are going to learn how to create the HDR portrait, and that is out of simple images. And we are going to use the Adobe Lightroom for this and Adobe Photoshop later on. Okay, so let's get started. I hope you can see my screen at the moment, Lightroom screen. Let me first check my streams whether everything is going fine, and yes, I think let's get started. I hope you can see everything is going fine. Alright, so I'm starting. So this is the image which we will take, and we are going to turn this into a black and white HDR portrait image, which would be really stunning. So let's see what we can make out of this image. So first of all, we have to be in the develop module to start the editing. So let me first go over here in the develop module, and over here first of all I'll go for the auto. So basically we are going to fix the basic adjustment like exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, etc. in Adobe Lightroom, and then we'll take this image into the Photoshop. Alright, so as you can see at the moment, let me press Ctrl Z to show you the result. Just by pressing the auto, just a minute, just by pressing the auto, you can see how much difference it has made already to this image. And I'm going to lower down the contrast a little bit, increase the exposure a little bit, and bring down the highlights, so get some more details over here, something like this. Increase the shadow. As you can see, it has started opening up the face, and let's bring down the black, or let's increase the black little bit, and let's add little bit more white, and come over here on the clarity, increase the clarity a little bit, and come down over here on the lens correction panel, and make sure you check this enable profile correction, and that way this lens distortion would be fixed. As you can see, the moment I check this and uncheck it, you can see the difference, I think, if you are watching in full HD. And press this check this remove chromatic aberration, and that is going to remove the chromatic aberration. Chromatic aberration is basically some purple edges or purple fringe line on the outside, on the edges of the images. So but in this case we don't have that, but it's always good to just enable it or check it. And then we will come on to the details panel, and over here we'll increase the sharpening little bit, and then we'll press Alt or Option and drag this masking slider until we see the edges. So we want to sharpen only the edges, and then we'll increase the noise reduction a little bit, and then let's see what else we want. Okay, we don't want anything else, and now we are going to send this image into the Photoshop, and for that purpose you can right click and select add it in, and you can select the Adobe Photoshop CC 2017, or there is another option that open as smart object in the Photoshop. You can choose whichever you want, but I have created an preset for the export open in Photoshop, and that way what I have created, first it's going to be in my one of the hard disk folder in one of my hard disks, and then it is going to open in Adobe Photoshop from there. All right, so but if we go directly from here, edit in Adobe Photoshop, then it will not create a separate copy, and it is going to work only from here in the Lightroom itself. So if you want that, but that takes lots of load on the system, so that's why I have created an export preset for this. And so I'll go for the export and select open in Photoshop, and it's going to open in Photoshop. And all of those who are commenting, I request all of you that you please don't please, I will answer all of your questions once the stream is ended, because at the moment I won't be able to see your comments, because I am just streaming totally both on my YouTube channel as well as on my Facebook page. Okay, so that's why it's quite difficult for me to you. And if you are watching me on YouTube and you have not subscribed to my channel, then I would request that please do subscribe to this channel, because you are going to learn lots of things from this channel. And if you are on Facebook, please do like my page and kindly consider sharing this stream. So now you can see this has been launched in the Photoshop, and now we are going to edit this image further. Okay, so for that purpose, what we are going to do, we'll press Ctrl J or Command J. So let me just duplicate it, and we will go to the filter and select Nik collection, and over here we'll come at the Hdr Efx Pro 2. This is which we are going to select, and that's going to launch this Hdr Efx Pro free preset or free plugin. And this is a Google Nik collection plugin. If you don't have it, I do recommend this, that you please do get this. This is absolutely free. Earlier it was paid, but Google has acquired it, so now it's absolutely free. It has whole lots of tools, and they are the professional tools. They can really help you out to get creative with your images or creative with your editing. All right, so having said that, let's carry on with our tutorial. So over here this has been launched. As you can see, over here we have all these presets library, and they have been organized according to the realistic, and you can see the preview over here: architecture, landscape, artistic, surreal, and some recently used and favorites. All right, so we will go for, let's say, realistic, and let's see, if we just click, you can see it start to give us the realistic result in the over here on the panel. And let's go for black and white, because we want it to be black and white, but as you can see it is not looking good. So we'll try another one. Let's go for the artistic, and let's go for black and white artistic. Though we can adjust all of this with the help of these settings or these options, but first I will try to see if there is something which I can find without doing any other work. And if I won't find it, you can see moment I click it, you get the preview over here. All right, so let me just go for the artistic and select this black and white artistic, and over here we have this button, so we can press this and it's going to show us the before, and this is the after. All right, you can see, and we can even press this split preview, so we'll be having this kind of a preview. So we can drag this line or this slider to see the before and after. So this was our image before and this is after. Or we can simply press this side by side preview, so it's going to show us this is before and this is after. All right, or if you want to go back, click on the single image view. All right, and over here we can zoom into this image or zoom out. Over here we can make the background dark, white, gray, or the black. All right, and over here we have the first option of tone compression. So let's experiment with this. Let the tone be something like this, and method strength, we can, let's increase this method strength to something like this. Then we have the tonality. So in tonality we are going to increase the exposure, since this image looks too dark and I don't like the result the way it is right now. And we can adjust the shadows, So we are going to open up the shadows and let's choose the highlights. So we don't want to affect the highlight that much, or let's bring it something like this. So it's all basically an experiment. You can experiment with these sliders and you can choose whichever you like the result, or whichever result you like. And over here we can adjust the contrast. So if you want more contrast, you can increase it up, but in this case I don't want that much of contrast, so something like this is good. And here we can adjust the blacks of the image and whites of the image as well. So let's go something like this. And over here we can decide structure. Structure is basically how much details we get on this area, surface area, on the skin, and all of these are structure. So we can adjust that, whether we want lots of structure or we want less structure, but I think something like this is fine. And here we can adjust the saturation. At the moment it's -100, that means we are getting a black and white image, but if you want to add some saturation you can add that as well. So you can go really creative with this. As you can see, this is a low saturation look, so if you like you can go for it, or you can increase the saturation. But I am aiming to create a black and white HDR portrait, so I will go for -100. And these are the options to adjust the temperature or tint. You can do that as well. And with this option we can adjust the selective adjustment, or we can make selective adjustment on selective area. So if I'll just click over here and click over here, so it is going to create a point over here, and I can adjust the exposure. So I can increase the exposure and I can adjust the contrast of that area as well, and saturation. And here we have the option of structure, blacks, whites, and basically all these options we have available over here. All right, and if you want to hide this, you can hide it or by clicking on this control point. Okay, and if you want to see how or which area, how much area this is affecting, just click on this icon and it is going to show. Wherever there is a black color, it's not going to affect that, and wherever there is a white color, it is affecting that. So now you can adjust it by clicking and dragging at the appropriate place where you want the adjustment. And you can even make this circle larger or smaller, so it all depends on what you want. And if you want to get your image back, just uncheck it and it's going to show you the real review. Okay, and finally we have the finishing. So in the finishings we have the vignette option, so you can choose for these different presets: lens 1, lens 2, lens 3, lens 4. So you can go for anything which you like, and you can even go for white vignette effect. I think I would go for something like this black frame. This is fine, and I can choose the center point of that as well by clicking on this icon, and I can place the center on this side, so the center would be placed over here. Or I can, if I am not happy, I can click once again and place it in the center. So now this one is looking much better. And we can adjust the amount, so how much darkness we want. If you want too much darkness, we can drag it to the left side, and if you want the white vignette, we can drag it to the right side. So we can do all of that with the help of this amount slider. Okay, and we can adjust the circle as well, size of the circle of this vignette, you can see, and we have this circle size, and we can take it towards the rectangle. So this would be this vignette shape would be of rectangle. If you drag it towards the circle, this would be a circle. Okay, so let's take it to the rectangle side. That's fine, because that way we'll be getting some vignette effect on this side as well. And we can increase its size, so we can make it large or we can make it smaller. So I think I will go for something like this, and this one is fine. And here we have the graduated neutral density filter as well. So this is basically good for the landscape images where we can have the darker sky, or if you want to get the details from your sky. Suppose you have the flat sky and clouds are there, but they are not visible while you took the shot. So you can use this graduated neutral density filter or options to get the details in the sky or make the sky darker. But we can use it over here to make the upper tonality darker, or we can make that lighter as well. So I think I will not touch this, let's leave it as it is. So we can adjust the lower tonality as well. So if you want more light in the lower side or on the bottom part of the image, you can increase it to the right side, and if you want the darkness, then you can lower or drag this slider towards the left side. So let me just go for something like this. This one is fine, and we can adjust the blend, how both of these top and bottom blend with each other. We can shift the vertically, or we can rotate this as well. So we have all these options of ND filter over here, and over here we have the levels and curves options. So these are some presets, we can choose any one of them to see what result we get. So you can go for any look you want, and I think this default one is fine, or let's go for, alright, this one is fine. And once we have made the editing, we can save this recipe for later use. So over here you can see there is a option of custom, so we can just click this plus icon and we can rename it like HDR black and white simple and press OK, and that way this would be available over here. And you can see I have one more over here, so I can just click over here, and with just one click it is going to transform my image into this one. And if I want to go back, I can select this one and we get all our details back, or all our editings. So now next time whenever you are going to edit any image, you just need to come over here and select one of these presets, and boom, you are good to go. Or you can make adjustment once again on these options and you will get the result. And once you are happy, press OK. So let this process, and let me check my comments. And if you are watching me on YouTube, I request to subscribe to my channel, and if you people are watching me on Facebook, then please consider liking my page. And let me see, okay, whether we have got any comments or not. Alright, so okay, this is fine. And now let's make editing even further. So we'll go to the adjustment and we'll create a curves adjustment, and we'll create 1 point over here and 1 point over here, and we drag this up a little bit and drag this down a little bit, and that way it is going to boost the contrast and brightness of the image. And let's drag it to this side. Okay, and let's create another adjustment, and this time brightness and contrast, and increase the brightness and increase the contrast as well, something like this. And then we'll come over here and select a gradient map, and this would be the black and white gradient map, and you can see by turning it on and off, and over here it has made the face darker. So we'll take the brush tool, we'll select this mask, and with the black color and let's say 10% opacity, we are going to paint on the face. And what will happen, it is going to remove the effect from the face, and you can see now. And let's create another blank layer and come to the graduated filter or the gradient and select this black to transparent gradient, press OK. Make sure you select this linear gradient option over here and opacity be 20%, and we'll click and drag it to this side, click and drag it to this side. So it is going to add more vignette effect to this image, and you can see by turning it on and off. And now we are going to dose and burn this image so that we get more interest and depth in the image. So for that purpose, we'll create another layer, blank layer, and we are going to go to the edit, fill, and from this drop down menu we'll select the 50% gray, and we will press OK and change this layer blend mode to overlay. Come to the dose tool, select this dose tool and exposure to be 10%, and zoom into the image, make the size of the brush smaller, and start painting wherever you see the highlights or the light area, or whichever you want to make lighter part more prominent. So we can adjust that as well. So this is a dose and burn technique, and if you want to learn all the dosing and burning techniques which professionals use, then you can check out my pro tutorials, which is called the dose and burn masterclass, or give depth to your images using dosing and burning technique. And there is a link to that in the description section. Once this live will be over, I'm going to add that link, or you can simply go to my website. There is a link in the description, and there you will find that course, and you will get that with huge discount. Okay, and slowly keep on painting on the highlighted part of the image, and we can paint on the dress as well, on the hands, on the hand over here. And we can paint on the walls as well. And you can see the difference by turning it on and off. You can see how much detail and depth it has added. And if you want more depth or details, what you can do, you can paint it once again, or you can simply press Ctrl J or Command J, and that's going to create more depth in the image. And then you can lower down its opacity, and we can even burn certain areas or darker areas, but I think there is no need for that since we already got lots of contrast in this image. So it would not be of any benefit, or would not be any beneficial. Sorry for my grammar, sometimes I speak nonsense. Okay, all right, and you can see the difference by turning it on and off. And let me press the C for crop, and I'm going to crop it from the top a little bit and press enter. And now we are going to create a merge copy of all of this. Control Alt Shift E or Command Option Shift E, and we are going to sharpen this image a little bit further. So we'll change this layer blend mode to, let's say, linear light, and we'll go to the filter, other, and select high pass, and we will choose the radius of 1.5 or 1.6. and if you want more details, as you can see, you can go up to the 8.4, but more sharpening will not look good on this image. So since we have already made it much sharper, so I will go for something like this, 2.5, and I will press OK. But it has made the entire image sharp, but I don't want that. So what I'll do, I'll create a layer mask by pressing Alt or Option, and this time brush tool with the white color, opacity let's say around 50%, zoom in and paint with the white color on the face, because I want this to be sharp, more sharp, and the pugly of this guy and hands. So whichever part you want to be the having more details, you can paint over that part. And on this hookah, this is a hookah, and on these things, these showpiece as well, over this mandir, and you can see now this one is looking amazing. So we can turn it off and on. You can see now we have got lots of detail. Okay, so let me just select all of these, press Ctrl G to group them together, and let me show you by going to the full screen. This is our final result, and let me place my watermark. And we started with this image, and this is after we have made the basic adjustment to this image, and we have created something like this. So thank you so much. I hope you have learned something useful from this tutorial, and if you did, please let me know in the comment section below. And if you have any question, you can ask me right now. I am available. So if there is anything which you could not understand, so you can ask me. Okay, and I'm going to answer all of your queries. So let me close the Facebook, and let's see. Can we have some questions? Is there any question? If you people have any question, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'm going to end this live stream. Okay, I think we don't get any questions. So thank you so much for joining me. Bye bye. See you in the next episode. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the like button on my Facebook page.